Welcome to The Lead Climb, the podcast where we break down the strategies that drive patient acquisition and growth in behavioral health. Hosted by Growth Sherpa Consulting, we bring you expert insights on digital marketing, admissions, business development, and more, so your treatment center, mental health clinic, or private practice can thrive. Whether you're a CEO, admissions director, or marketing pro, this is where you'll find the tools to scale smarter. Follow us up the mountain. Let's lock in.
All right, excited to have everyone back. Today I have Dave Perez. Dave, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Steve. Great to be here.
Awesome. So I wanted to start this off just telling you a story. When I first met you, I don't know if you remember this day, I just started a Foundations Recovery Network. First treatment center I actually ever went to. And they flew me out to Memphis. I knew nothing of Memphis other than like barbecue and 3-6 Mafia. And so I get there, we're talking in the morning, but then we get to lunch. And this is where I remember vividly, we're waiting in the lunch line, and you start peeking around, looking at what's going on, and they're short-staffed, and you basically said, hey, wait right here. Jump behind the kitchen and started serving everybody. Mm-hmm. And so I'm excited to have you on this today, because we talk a lot about business things on this pod, but this one in particular about leadership is just a prime example of servant leadership. And for me, it was really exciting to see that. And not only that you jumped in and said, let me help, but when I was like, hey, can I help you? You're like, no, get your food, go sit down. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Because that's definitely not the standard for a lot of the programs I've worked with all the years, for the CEO to jump in like that.
Well, first, let me tell you why I said no. You hadn't been checked out on food service quality. We hold ourselves to a high standard on quality. Now, I have always believed that we have to treat everybody as equals in an organization. So if it's just, oh, I'm up here and I don't do that, then what does it mean about what I believe about the work that those people do, the value that they bring to the organization, and then also you help where you can, right? It's just a part of a value, I think, a work ethic that was instilled into me as a young kid. So it's just, there's also a little piece of shame in it for me. If I see something that needs to be done and I don't do it, I do feel that like I really should be doing this. Yeah. So that's just my natural state. But I do believe, like you said, that it's a function of leadership to let everybody know that every job is important and everybody chips in all the time to help out.
And I like the message you're setting for the clients as well, right?
Yes.
That, especially in recovery, it's not just a socioeconomic or demographic, it's everyone, right? So everyone's also there to help, from the frontline staff to the CEO, the executive team.
That's right. And then an additional secondary message, or maybe primary message, is food can be love. Mm-hmm. And when food service is done like with authentic, genuine, like I really care about serving you, about feeding you something that's healthy, something that's tasty, your body means something. Take care of it. It's a beautiful temple to care for. And I think serving great food, with great service is important.
So definitely wasn't on our pre-chat, but food is an exciting topic. So that's something that I always found fascinating, because it's a line item, right? When you're an executive, you look at the food.
Sure.
The dollar per meal, dollar per patient, it can certainly add up. And with reimbursements getting lower, length of stays getting lower, and unfortunately patient acuity going up, yes. Food becomes one of those things I think a lot of executives, a lot of treatment center owners will look at and go, should we cut? Should we go from this wholesome, almost comfort food to those square pieces we had in middle school with the tater tots? It's cheaper, it saves $1 per meal per patient. How did you square that circle when you were leading treatment centers?
Well, first of all, I think it's a huge mistake to mess with anything that it affects directly patient satisfaction. And I'll tell you a story. We're at that very center where I made a mistake. I made a huge mistake. I had visited our California program and loved their California healthy menu. Mm-hmm. Tried to bring it back to Memphis, and instantly the first thing is, do not take away our fried chicken Wednesdays. Yep. And it was like, I get it. I see the mistake I made. I was thinking, everybody wants to be healthy, and again, we're trying to promote taking care of the whole person. And if we don't really think about healthy diet. How can we be doing that? But there's another piece to it. People are coming away from maybe months or years of deprivation where they have not been taking care of their body. And they come into treatment, they give up something that's very important to them, their drug of choice that soothes them, takes care of them, has kept them alive and healthy in their minds, right? Made them okay. And so we took that away, and now we're going to take away comfort of food? Yeah, doesn't work. And one of the highest satisfaction items on our satisfaction surveys was for our food, for the quality of the food, for food service. When somebody comes in, to detox, and the food service staff comes out from around the counter and talks to them and says, what do you like? What don't you like? And then remembers their name, remembers 3 weeks from now. Oh no, you don't like that. I got this for you. It sends the message you're cared for. You mean something to me, and I mean something to you. We have a relationship.
So that's not natural for a lot of businesses or programs.
No.
Listening to the client, listening to the patient, in this case, listening to the customer in many cases. I can talk about American Airlines in particular about that on a recent event. But it's not common, I think, place for a lot of people who come in. How do you instill that servant leadership, patient first, client first mindset? Because I'm sure that you've been in programs where that wasn't the default method.
Oh, absolutely.
But you had to get there.
Yes. And I think especially in our field, there is a sense of us doing this work to the client, not with the client, right? We know best. You don't know. The language of recovery often can be your best thinking got you here, right? So when we come from that approach, it can infiltrate everything we do, and especially what we think in our minds. So if I approach it of, I know better than you, then I'm not listening. You're going to resist. I'm going to feel your resistance and then, be in conflict with you. And the next thing you know, I've got an AMA on my hands, right? So always listen, always ask, always involve. The more we can involve somebody in their own experience, the more invested they are, the less resistant they are. I get it. It's a pain in the neck. It's so much easier to tell somebody what to do, to cut your food budget, to cut your linen budget, you name it, your recreation budget, all those extras. But then what are you left with? And you can certainly do great treatment in a minimalist environment, but you still got to listen to the client. You still have to care about the client. You have to involve them in their own treatment. So we're doing it with them, not to them.
So what happens then when you come into a program and you have this mindset just like that? Mm-hmm. We're going to make early recovery in particular not punitive. We're going to make it a positive experience. We're going to have a culture that is reflective upon that positive experience. And you have tenured employees, you have legacy employees who are not having it. They're resistant. They're probably coming from a place of fear,
sure,
right? Fear for my job, fear for what I found comfortable for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. How do you get that buy-in? How do you move past that? I'll talk about some things with outreach teams I've done. I'm curious to hear first from you for like the clinical side of things. And then for me, for outreach, we run into it from time to time as well.
Of course, absolutely. Look, we're all humans, no matter what our job is, whether we're the client, patient, the employee, staff member, whatever. We're all human beings, and we all resist change, even if it potentially could be better, because it's scary. I'm comfortable with the devil I know, and the new thing could be much worse, could be more difficult, make my job harder, whatever. We resist change. So it's, again, getting that buy-in. One of the things I do when I go to a place, and I remember when I went to La Paloma in Memphis, my intention was, I arrived there saying, I'm going to observe for 3 to 6 months before I make any changes. It was in my plan, my mentor and I talked about it, we got it all worked out. On day 3, the team said, no, we need to change. So they were hungry for it. So then it was, so tell me what's working, what isn't working. Let's not mess up what's working if we can. We might need to change it, but let's put that on the back burner. What do you think isn't working? Where do you see that we need to put our attention? What do you think would be a better way of doing it? So getting buy-in at any level, again, with the client, with the staff, with the board or the owners or whoever is dealing with the money end, you got to get buy-in, and then you have to demonstrate this is where we're going, and this is why we're going there. Information is power, right? If you do something to me, I'm going to resist. If you do something with me, we'll go together in that direction. So that's one of the things I'll do initially is talk a little bit about what resistance looks like. So I'll kind of name it, put it out there. And I'll often talk about there are 4 types of people when we're dealing with change. And only 3 of them are acceptable. Number 1, perfect. It aligns with my values, my belief system. I'm with you, let's do the change. Person type number 2, I don't know. I'm not so sure, jury's out. I'm gonna watch, I'm gonna see how things are going. But I'm not gonna fight it, but I'll wait. Then there's the person that goes, I don't really like this. I don't think it matches what I believe is the way to do it. I'm going to be moving on. I'm going to look for other jobs, whatever. And that person I'll tell, by the way, take your time. As long as you're not being a problem, I'm not going to be a problem to you. Mm-hmm. Find the right job. Don't just run away from this. Because maybe they'll buy in over the time that it takes them to find the next job and see the grass isn't always greener. The 4th and unacceptable type is the person that says, no, I don't agree with this. I'm going to do everything I can to fight you and undermine you.
Right.
That's the person that's going to get fired. That's the person that's going to have a lot of conflict. They're undermining the direction we're going. And so I will tell the team those 4 types of people, and I will tell them, if you think you might be one of those 4, type 4 people, let's have a conversation now. Let's make a clean break, end on good terms, and I'll help you go find a place that's a better fit for you. Because what I'm doing doesn't fit you, doesn't mean it's that you're wrong or bad. It just means it's not a good fit.
And some people do see that as a shortcoming or a fallacy in themselves when they have to move on, right? When a new leader comes in, okay, this isn't jiving with who I am. Yeah. And my experience, they project that as, well, that person's wrong and evil, when it's just different.
Right.
It's just different ways of doing business. It's different ways of coming at things. I mean, sometimes it can be wrong and evil, but it's rarely. It's more just a different vision and way and path you want to go, and that's okay. I mean, I've hired outreach reps, sales reps for 20 some odd years, and yeah, it's sometimes you get a person and you hire them well, you train them well, they are good, they're proficient, and it just doesn't work, and you're like, okay, that's okay. Like, you're good, I'm good. I will happily recommend you. You did everything right, and it's just universe, right?
Yep.
I like what you said too about sharing the vision. 2 of the things I believe in, or 2 of the 3 for culture development, are shared vision and common language.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, teams I lead always get books. Like, you're getting a book, we're going to learn how to speak the same language. Growth Sherpa got Shoe Dog last December. We're getting something new this December. So my team will always get books, so we have the same language, same way of communicating about things that reduces ambiguity. The sharing the vision, especially for when change comes in, you can find out the buy-in from those middle 2 people of, this is where I want to go, do you want to come with me?
Yeah.
And I think that takes people out of the mindset of fear and into the mindset of abundance. Oh, that's a new fun voyage. It's not reckless change for the sake of change.
Right.
And that communication doesn't take too long. Like, it's a very open dialogue with your teams, and something worth investing in, but how often do we see that missed?
Absolutely. And a lot of times it's even some of their fears could be founded on maybe some past experiences, especially when we talk about there's a financial reason for the change, right? This isn't working, we're losing money doing this, or it's really inefficient, or it runs counter to what our payers want, that type of thing, right? So a lot of times right there you get that resistance of, oh, it's just about the money. And again, being authentic and speaking to their fear as opposed to blowing it off and saying, well, yeah, sure, it is about the money, partially. And this is also why it's better for our client, better for you. A lot of times I'll go into an organization and I come from a primary mental health background. The first half, or at this stage, third of my career, was maybe even quarter at this point, was in primary mental health. So I always went into places that would call themselves co-occurring dual diagnosis, and was like, I'm not seeing much of the mental health side. So let's bolster that. A lot of fear, because number one, they weren't trained on it. Number two, I don't understand it. Number three, it's scary. Are you going to bring in somebody with psychosis or who's violent, or right? So to blow that off would be, again, ignoring my customer, who is my employee right now, right? I'm trying to sell them on the notion of why this is beneficial. So you can't ignore them. You got to hear the fears, speak to the fears, and like you said, give them that kind of positive outcomes. Show them the possibilities, the opportunities that can come from doing this, which means we do better, you do better, right? I can give you more chance of me giving you a raise, much fewer chances of layoffs if we can increase our census with expanding our potential clientele, right? So just getting the buy-in. But also to your notion of somebody who has a different mindset. I have loved having conversations. I come from a harm reduction philosophy, right? I'm a strong proponent of Suboxone and methadone and any medications that can be helpful. Recognizing that medications aren't the be-all, end-all. It's got to be combined with treatment. And don't work for everybody. Having conversations or debates with people who are, abstinence only and believe that medications are not abstinence. If I have a staff member, organization that I'm moving to harm reduction or medication-assisted treatment, and they're pure abstinence, I could invite them to change, or I could say, is it a better fit for me to help you get to this other place that is more in line with their philosophy? I'm open to either one. How can I help you?
It's interesting when I was hearing about that number 4 person, as you're talking about 4 types. Being a sales leader, sometimes that number 4 is the top performing or one of the top performing reps. And so fear comes into place.
For you?
Well, probably not as much for me as it is the board and the CFO.
Right.
And people go, we have to keep that person. You don't understand. That person brings in 5%, 10% of our business. They're integral to our team. Yeah. And I've seen that go 2 ways in my career. One is we have a zero tolerance for number 4, as you say. Mm-hmm. We're going to take it on the chin for a minute, and we're going to replace that person with a team player who is positive, encouraging, can pick up the slack, and tend to get that revenue back. Or we hold on to them, and the whole team just knows there's something wrong. And that's, I think, for a lot of sales leaders who have larger teams in particular, that's a difficult place to be at. When the musician thinks they're the band, becomes the issue. When the rep thinks they are the company, I am the face of the company in this market, and you need to listen to me, sales leader, and no one else's opinion, and do as I say. I think that's when the toxicity can come in on outreach teams. Our industry has a ridiculous turnover rate on outreach.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of different reasons. This, I think, is one small reason of it for the larger teams, is that great people come into these organizations wanting what a visionary communicative leader is sharing, but when they see that person blocking it over and over again, it can be a deterrent and always seeds that doubt in their mind. So for me, I think as you're looking at change management and sales teams, getting the buy-in from that person should be obviously very paramount, right? You should really try to get that person's buy-in, but if it's just not coming, it's a scary time, but you have to move on and have to have a plan to move on. That's well communicated in the organization, because revenue does hurt.
Yes.
For a short amount of time, but I've never seen it last long, and I think that's one of the things that fear from the executive side can really cloud what is a long-term vision for success.
Absolutely.
The other things I love doing, especially with technology implementation, we're doing a lot of that now at Grow Sherpa, and I always joke, I wish I had the reputation for being like great at golf and conferences and cigars, but no, I get broken sales teams and technology and. But
actually, that's a fantastic thing to have.
Yeah,
success with repairing broken teams. I'd rather have that than cigars.
Golf and cigars seems a lot easier. It seems a lot easier and more fun.
That's not what people need you for.
No,
it's easy.
But the broken technology in teams is certainly, I think, more of the reputation. But the technology in particular, people are scared, and it's challenging. And getting buy-in from the people who are the least inclined in technology first I think that's where a lot of teams will mess it up for organizationally as well. Is they'll go to their tech heads on their teams and say, you're going to go forth with this new EMR. You're going to go with the CRM. And yeah, they should absolutely be involved for feedback. They're users. They're smart. They know how the things can work and talk to each other. But my favorite time is I was going live with Salesforce at an organization, and one of the reps didn't even have his laptop. Old schools can be amazing person, but the biggest win was, okay, we're going to get you a laptop. We're going to get this on your cell phone. We're going to teach you how to use it. You're going to use it, and here's how you're going to get better from it. And 6 months later, they were crushing it, not just in usage of the technology, but then in outcomes. And so that change management from having what might be the least likely person to use it to the champion of it, the whole team at that point was like, well, yeah, I can do this.
Well, somehow you got that person's past their fear and somehow engaged in helping you, kind of mold it, fit it around whatever his or her, resistance was, or just lack of experience was. I don't want to one-up you, but I'm going to one-up you here.
Please.
So, started at a place and with zero technology, with email and internet is it. This was in Gainesville, Florida, so close to the University of Florida, a great computer science department. So hired a bunch of interns to build an EMR. And they ended up calling it DAVE, Data Acquisition and Verification Entity,
nice.
Which was, I thought,
well done.
Yeah, that's okay. You can put my name on it. I like that. That works. But we had a guy, one of the counselors, who, and I shit you not, did a treatment plan on the fly with a client with a crayon and a white piece of paper.
Okay.
Just because you needed to get it done, needed to get it into the chart. The client was there. It was like 5 minutes before group time. So he just banged it out. Creative on his part, right? But technologically limited. And so when we built the EMR, what I told the team was, build it for him. I want him to be able to do it without having to, every 5 minutes, ask you for help or me for help. If you can build it for him, but also, I like my data. I want to be able to, it has to be powerful enough for me on the back end to get what I need, right? I need to see, my analytics. I need to see what we're doing. So again, when you can speak to both needs, that's when you're doing it right. Really, every need. You're listening to everybody. You can't be everything to everybody, but when you listen to everybody, you get enough of it, and people see your effort.
I like that. And if you give me carte blanche with the CRM and technology, I'm going to go nuts.
Yeah.
And I love this stuff. I've been doing it for a long time. I'm going to go nuts. But the reality is that's not great for a lot of organizations. So part of change management, I think, might be boiling the frog. You start with dropping the frog in water. Okay, well, here's your EMR, here's your CRM, here's your telephony system. Basic. Okay, we're going to add this feature. We add this feature. Now you can do VOBs. Okay, now we can add this predictive analytics. Okay, now we have automated reporting. And 2 years later, everyone is a tech expert. They don't even know it. They've done one step at a time. And we've done a couple projects like that where I know the organization is sophisticated enough to really have something amazing. But if we were to launch amazing, it would fall on its face. If we launched really good and gave them the information they needed and then took it the next step 6 months later, that's how they got to amazing. So for change management, boiling the frog has been wildly useful for organizations who just aren't ready for that.
Well, it's really, when you talk about any growth, right? Be it growth of adding programs, adding beds, adding locations, adding technology. If you can stage it in gradually, it's more economically feasible. It gives you a chance to adapt to the growth. It lets you evaluate the growth, right? So is this technology really working for us? Before we go to the next step, let's get this step right. You gotta do it in a structured, thoughtful way that doesn't flood everybody, overwhelm everybody. It's why EMR change is so disruptive to our organization, and it rarely, if ever, delivers on what it promises. And it fixes this problem, but creates that one. So go in with a clear vision. Make sure the team knows the clear vision. I always believe in undersell it and let it over-deliver whenever possible.
What's fun too, I just saw this, from a retention standpoint, employee staffing, when you have something that works off the jump, you get trust. when you keep adding new features that make their lives better, little by little, you get excitement for the new feature instead of fear.
Yep.
And all of a sudden now it's like, all right, we're going to have some new in 36 months. Oh, some news coming. And by the time your top employees might consider going somewhere else, they look at the grass and they don't have that. We have all these amazing tools. We have all these amazing training.
Makes my job easier.
My job's easier. I have visibility of things I never had visibility for, step by step. And I'm sure you see this a lot too with new organizations. I mean, our coaching is just start. You don't have to have the best. Just start. Telephony system, CRM, EMR, let them all talk and start. And then you'll see over time, you'll add and grow as you add and grow.
Well, you said telephony systems twice, and it instantly made the first time you said it was like, the banes of my existence is getting into one of those push button systems where I'm 7 minutes in and I know what I need in the first 7 seconds, but I can't get there. When we overcomplicate something, trying to meet every single need, it inhibits connection. It slows things down. It pisses people off, and it doesn't work. Your first thing should be simple. You want this or this, boom. Then you just start dividing from there. But when your first menu is everything, with an EMR, when there's a million buttons, a million pages, a million pieces of data, it overwhelms people.
Then you throw AI in the mix, which I'm sure you've seen this as well. You call somewhere saying, I just need to fix this. Talk to me and I can answer your thing. I don't need you to talk to you. I just need to hit 2 to get to, it used to be 2 and 8, and I know it was 2 and 8 for 10 years, and so I think too in our space in particular, I see a lot of people excited about AI, but they have none of the other systems in place. So it's like, great, you're putting a supercharger on a horse and buggy. What are you going to do with that?
Right.
So yeah, technology, change management in particular, I think that's the fun thing of just taking a step-by-step, process by process, and building it out. Shiny new things aside over here. Let them be aside, but build to that. And you end up training people better retention, better just adaptation. I think that's been cool. Now from the non-tech side, and we talked about that for a bunch, you do a lot with credentialing, with processes, with clinical models.
Sure.
I didn't know that. I'd be the worst therapist ever. No one would get well. How do you do that when you have to change, okay, your model has been this, your belief system has been this, absence-based to harm reduction?
Sure.
Because that is, I think, I'm talking about the more pragmatic, less emotional stuff. Sure, there's emotion, but less emotional. When you talk about maybe a clinician who's been trained on this, believed this, and it has seen hundreds, not thousands of people get well, now saying we have to go in this other direction. How has that been? How do you navigate that with a higher level of emotional buy-in?
So again, first thing is, make sure that you take time to assess what the need is. Don't just do it to do it. Change for change's sake is, it's ego. It's got to be a true need, and you have to demonstrate the need. So you have to, first of all, assess that there is a need. Then get that buy-in from the team. So start having them tell you why what they're doing doesn't work. That's one thing. It's interesting. I can't think of any place I've ever gone. Well, it's not true. A couple places I went to that didn't say this, but almost every place says we're the best, right? So, and everybody, it's really aspirational, right? We all want to be the best. But what makes you think you're the best? Well, because I'm there, I must be the best, right? So how do you get that somebody who believes they're the best to look at changing something? So I went to one program, and they said they were REBT, Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy Program. And I observed for 30 days. And then I went in and said, show me how you're REBT, or whatever your model is, DBT, CBT, whatever your model is. Show me that you're doing it. And then what I would do is I would show them how they weren't doing it. And the other question is, do you want to be that? Do you want to be the best at it? Then let's be the best at it. Let's get it embedded. You used the thing about you want your team to all be speaking the same language. That program where I heard 0 REBT language, years later, somebody stopped me in a parking lot, a former client, screamed, "Hey, Perez!" He waved me down, came over. "You kicked me out, 2 years ago, and I'm still doing my REBTs," right? So we embedded it so deeply into the culture that it became like what the program was, which is what they said they were. So to be the best, you have to actually live it, right? And you have to embed it. So it's getting people to see that, lip service saying I'm the best doesn't always match up. Then the other thing is to look at outcomes, to look at employee retention and satisfaction. So client satisfaction, employee satisfaction, massive in any industry, but especially ours, I think. And you can get those things to increase when people have something to buy into and they have something to believe in. So you're giving them hope. You're giving them something to latch onto and say, I want to do differently. Now, there's certainly, other examples of that aren't as smooth or as easy as that. Went into one well-established treatment program that had opened with a beautiful vision. But what they had done was they were kind of house-driven. So it was a large property with multiple houses. 12 clients per house, which number one doesn't match with client to staff ratios. The clinical ratios are 8-to-1 at that place, so you have 1.5 caseload. But everything was driven at the house. All the treatment was at the house individually. And then what would happen is people would have to move houses every time they changed levels. Come into the detox unit, right? That's one house. Move to the next one. You're at residential, but kind of at the level 1 residential. Well, then your privileges and restrictions move up a little bit. You move to the next house. Well, then you're going to move to the partial house, right? And then you're going to move. You could have 4 or 5 moves. Doesn't make any sense.
Seems disruptive.
Very disruptive, and counter to the very thing you say you want to do, house-driven treatment, being one house for your whole time. So what we ended up doing was getting rid of the house model and moving to a treatment center model where you could be whatever house you're at and get your treatment where you needed to get it. Less movement, it matched better with the payers, because that was the other thing, is you couldn't cohabitate the different levels of care in the same houses, right? So it made everything smoother, but leading up to that, the resistance level, I lost about 20% of the staff because they said, you're throwing out the very thing that makes us special and unique. And in fact, there was some truth to that. But for the rest of them that stayed and bought in, they saw the value, they saw how much easier it was for everybody. But it takes a lot of work to get there.
All right.
Yeah, we will.
One last question, and then we have construction. So.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. So I'll ask one last question, and then tell people about who you are and where to find you, and then we're good.
Well, hold on. Where to find me? What do I want to give them?
LinkedIn, email, website.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the what's my LinkedIn thing? They can find me. That's right.
All right, so cool. We talked a lot about change management from the leadership perspective. I want to ask you one last question before we wrap. We see a lot of treatment center acquisitions.
Oh, yes.
Right? A lot of consolidation in the space, especially over the last, 10 years? If you're an employee at one of these programs and you see the change come in, how do you respond to knowing which one of those 4 that you are going to be in that time? Is there any advice you'd give to that employee that is now sitting there wondering, what's my future here?
Absolutely. It's terrifying. You don't know, are they going to downsize? Are they going to bring their own people in? My life is going to change, right? So the first thing I say is, if you say, that's it, I'm leaving, I'm quitting right now, right? You haven't even given yourself a chance to acclimate. You haven't given yourself a chance to assess, does this fit with my ethic, with what I believe treatment should be? Is it a company I want to work for? Is it a leadership team or an ownership team whose values match with mine? Maybe things will be different, but do we align on our values? If we can start from that place, then I think it's worth sticking it out and assessing. Can I learn this? Can I adapt to it? Can I change and find value in it? Now, if our values don't match at all, that's probably a good indicator it's time to go.
Right.
But I think no matter what, being that 4th person is just not the way to be. I was that 4th person at one place many years ago. And it was because it was me. I was in a place that didn't fit them. And I found myself trying to change them instead of recognizing I was one that either had to change or had to go. So I worked on going.
Yeah. And I say for sales and marketing, because that's a lot of people who listen to this. Follow the comp plan for sales in particular. The comp plan will dictate the changes that are coming. Does your geography change? Does your target market change? Does your variable compensation part change? Comp plans are really good in most organizations at showing the reps what they're actually wanting out of them. There's been some recent acquisitions of programs that had good variable comp plans, and it really was very interested in people who could produce and grow business more, and took that away for people who might be more stable and lower cost. That's the business model. There's no right or wrong behind that. It's how the businesses do business, but it's not right for some people who might have been overperforming for years, compensated for it, and now need to find a new place to do that. And for marketing, I think in particular, there's actually a great opportunity for these acquisitions if you're a local, like a smaller program marketing generalist or maybe a SEO specialist, something like that, to grow your own career. I think that's probably the biggest opportunity from sales, marketing, and admission side is being able to be brought into the larger parent organizations, learn, grow, and get better. I've seen a lot of that in our industry. I've seen some people leave prematurely in the marketing space where they really could have taken the opportunity to grow the marketing side of the career. It's actually interesting. I was at a marketing conference a few weeks back, and they asked this whole room of 100-something people who here actually has a marketing degree. And I look around like, oh, there's like 4 of us. Right. So for most people in marketing in our industry,
it's interesting. Yeah.
This is a great opportunity to go and maybe learn some fundamental skills you might not have gotten, through education, but you can now get it through OJT. So.
Well, like you were saying earlier, giving books to your team, right? I love that model. One of my favorite things, Nigel Green. First, you have a conversation with him. First question out of his mouth: "What are you reading? What's on your nightstand right now, or on your desk?" Right. So it's important to be learning and growing and recognizing in this industry, clinically, from marketing and business development, leadership. There's so much of the kind of homegrown. I was in treatment, I now am in one of these positions. And there's something to learn from the professional, from the person who has the degree. And there's something for that person to learn from the felt experience, lived experience.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for chatting with me. Why don't you tell people what you're doing and where to find you?
Sure. So you can find me LinkedIn at Dave Perez, LMHC, or at dave@daveperez.org, O-R-G.
Awesome. And if you've watched or listened this long, thank you. You're awesome. Appreciate it. And have a great day.
That's a wrap for this episode of The Lead Climb. We hope you picked up some valuable insights to help optimize your patient acquisition and grow your behavioral health organization. If you found today's discussion helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your network. And if you're looking for expert guidance in digital marketing, admissions, business development, or any other piece of the patient acquisition puzzle, Growth Sherpa Consulting is here to help. Visit us at www.growthsherpaconsulting.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on The Lead Climb.